Hey everybody, so we are here in beautiful California to film the all-new Mazda Cx-30. So this is Mazda's brand new compact crossover, and in this video I'm going to show you guys every detail about this new vehicle. So we're going to check out the exterior, we're going to look at the interior, I'm going to take it for a drive, and I may even be able to show you guys what this thing looks like at night. So let's go ahead and check it out. Alright you guys, so here is the Mazda Cx-30. Now, just to give you some explanation of where this vehicle fits into the lineup, this is going to sit right in between the Cx-3 and the Mazda Cx-5. So this isn't taking the place of Cx-3, this is just filling in that gap between Cx-3, which in my personal opinion is a little too small, and then the Cx-5. So if you want a more sporty experience than the Cx-5 offers, this will give you that. And it's a little bit smaller for whatever reason the Cx-5 is too big. Now, this also is not called the Cx-4 because Mazda already has that over in Japan, so they didn't want to copy that with this car because this is a different vehicle altogether. Now, going around this, we have the polymetal gray color, and this is a good looking gray. It has some like light clay blue accents to it. It looks incredible. I think it really accents the lines on here really well. And in terms of styling, this is basically going to go off of the Kodo design language. So soul of motion, basically what that does is create the sense that the vehicle is moving as it's standing still. And what that's going to be on this is the light kind of reflecting off the door panel. So if you walk around this car, you can actually see the light moving around as you walk around, and it's a pretty cool look. It copies a lot of design elements from like the current generation Mazda 3 hatchback, which this is built off of. The Cx-3 was built off of the Mazda 2 platform, so this is kind of a lifted Mazda 3, but it's actually a little bit shorter while still giving you more interior space. Now, as far as pricing, this is going to start off around $21,900 for a front-wheel drive model. You can get this in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And this one we have here is the premium, so this is fully loaded, every option. So this is going to show you what all the Cx-30 will have to offer. Now, coming to the front of the Cx-30, since we do have the premium model, this is going to have full LED lights. It looks really good, and copying that same Kodo design language up front as like the Cx-5, you've got that massive grille. It looks fantastic. You've got this huge chrome bar, which is going to go all the way underneath the lights, down the grille, and then of course on the other light on the left side. It's just a really good look. I think it looks great. You don't have a ton of crazy lines going on here, and the lights look great at night. It really does make this car look sharp, makes it look crisp. Turn signals are going to be LEDs as well. They're super thin. That's the benefit of going with LEDs, is you can put them in real small packaging. And then of course just extra area down here to take in air for the naturally aspirated engine underneath there. And as we come up on the hood, you're gonna have some really nice hood lines. I love the way this thing looks from the side. It looks super mean, super aggressive, and then I like how at the very end it comes together with that chrome piece that's gonna go underneath the grille. It's just a good look. All right, so as we come down to the wheels, you're gonna have 18-inch wheels here as the largest offering. Now these are wrapped in 215/55 tires all the way around, so you have a nice square setup. The wheels look okay. I would have rather like a machined wheel or something that just looks a little bit nicer. I think it would have fit the profile of this a little bit better. Heck, I'd even be okay with black wheels. So I don't think these are the best wheels I've ever seen on a Mazda, but they work, they look okay. The other thing I'm not a big fan of is you have a ton of this black body cladding here. The reason I like the current generation Mazda 3 so much is because it's just fully painted. It looks super sharp, it looks a lot higher quality. I do understand though, because this is a crossover, so with the all-wheel drive, this can take you more places, and if you are going to get it dirty, at least the mud or anything you go on is going to get on the cladding instead of getting onto the paint. So totally makes sense. Now as you come down, you've got this nice line that's going to flow all the way right there, very reminiscent of like the Cx-5. You do have some aluminum roof rails there up top. Then as you come to the back, you've got some chrome accents underneath the window, and you also have a little bit of like a spoiler located right there. It's very small, just like it is on the Mazda 3 hatch. And then back here, I really like this view. It's really nice. I love the lights on here. I like that nice circular design, and it's just a really crisp look. Cx-30 badge right back here, your Mazda badge, and then your Skyactiv G badge right over here. Now you do have dual chrome tipped exhaust, so I'll go ahead and let you guys take a listen to that. All right, so here is your key for the Cx-30. So pretty standard key. If you guys have seen the recent Mazda 3, it's the same new key design. You have your lock, your unlock, your trunk release, and then you're gonna have your panic right there. And that's pretty much gonna be it. There's a physical key inside of here, but getting to it is pretty complicated. Now, getting inside, you can obviously lock and unlock with that. You're also gonna have touch sensitive areas on the door that you just place your fingers on. That's gonna lock and unlock the door. All right, so coming to the inside of the Cx-30. Really like the design of this. This one's gonna have like a dark brown and like cream color on the inside. I think it's a really good combo, looks really nice. So starting at the door, you can have some nice materials going throughout. So this right here is really plush, super soft to the touch, so you guys can see all that give there. It's gonna feel nice to rest your arm on there. Stitching going through here. You have like this floating design, which looks really cool. I like that. All of your buttons have a nice tactile feel to them. Mirror controls there, window locks. I like this aluminum piece that's gonna flow into the door handle. More of like that chocolate brown coming here, leather. Soft touch up here, soft touch down here. Bose speaker right here. Now one cool thing about the speakers is they focused a lot on it. So your actual subwoofer, I believe, is gonna be like somewhere in here or like somewhere up here. It's not in the door, I know that, so I think it's like somewhere up here. But what it's gonna do is it's gonna rattle like the firewall and basically like the frame of the vehicle, so that way the bass is a lot more rich and it's not gonna rattle the door. So I think that would be really cool if you like listening to music. Tweeter up here. Cx-30 branded match. You're gonna have your seat controls there. Leather feels really nice. Perforations going throughout the middle. That's gonna go all the way up the seat. And let's go ahead and hop in and we'll check out the rest. Okay, so shutting the door on the Cx-30. Super solid shut. And I like how this fully integrates into the interior design of the vehicle. It also does it on the right side and it looks really good. So there's a quick look at the inside before I start the car. Your start stop button is going to be right here, so foot in the brake.
Take the next right onto Inspiration.
Nice. So actually I like the little chimes that it gives you. It's pretty nice. But starting at the steering wheel, really nice steering wheel. So same updated design that is in the current Mazda 3. Aluminum accents here. The buttons are real nice and clicky. They feel great. Over to the left, you have all of your media commands. This info button is going to control the screen. I'll get to that in just a second. Cruise control over here, you do have adaptive cruise, so all of your information is there. You do have paddle shifters located right behind here, automatic wipers, and automatic lights located to the left. Now, back to that info button. So if I hit that, that'll take me through this screen here. Now this digital display in the middle, that's going to come standard on every Cx-30, so that is nice to see. But scrolling through here, just a little bit of information. You can have a full speedometer right there. You can have your driving information, average MPG, or you can have all of your basically safety features in terms of driving show up right there. Over to the left, you have your tack, and then over to the right, you have your fuel and your water temp. So real simple gauges. I like the way they look, and at night, this whole interior looks very beautiful. I like it a lot. Now you do have a button over here. This is to turn off like your blind spot, your rear cross traffic alert, things like that. So if you don't want the systems intervening, you can hit that, it'll turn it off, but it'll still leave on like emergency braking. That way, if you're about to get into a collision, that will still kick in. Then over here to the right, if you guys can see this right here, you have this little off-roady button, and that is going to be new. So it's only available on the all-wheel drive Cx-30. And what that's going to do, it's going to recalibrate the way the all-wheel drive system works, specifically for off-roading. So when you're off-roading, and if you have a tire up in the air, and if it's spinning, what the system's going to do is actually brake that wheel and then transfer torque. So when you're off-roading, you want to not have a spinning wheel. That's not, if your wheels are spinning, it means you're trying to get over like an obstacle or trying to get through some mud or things like that. So it's actually going to brake that wheel and then send the torque to where it's needed. It's pretty cool, and I'd be interested to try that out a little bit later if we can. Then as you come up here, you have your head-up display located right there. Looks really good. Now you are going to have your screen located right here. It's a really beautiful looking display. I love the way it looks. It isn't going to be touchscreen, so if you get a little bit closer, you can't touch it or anything like that. So Mazda has it to where it's only controlled through this dial right here. And they actually have listed reasons why. So because you cannot touch this, they're able to move it further away so that way it's out of reach, but it's in your line of sight. So if I'm looking right here, all I have to do is quick glance right there, and then boom, there's my screen. So it's not super far away from where you'd be looking. And then once you get used to the buttons, it's kind of like when I used to have a Razr phone. I could easily like text behind my back because I can feel where everything is. I can't do that with an iPhone, just like you can't do it with a touchscreen. And with a touchscreen, you can't push anything without having to look at where your finger's going. So it eliminates all that, and they say it's better for lessening driver distraction, which is lessening accidents happening. So that's their whole spiel for not going with a touchscreen. Now you have more of this beautiful kind of like chocolate going up here with some stitching. Once again, it's going to go all the way across. You've got this like layer design, which looks nice. This is super soft to the touch. I love how these vents flank both sides of the gauge cluster. It looks really nice. Then as you come down, you're going to have all of your buttons here. This is going to be for your dual zone climate control. Really tactile feels. Hopefully you guys can hear that. Feels really good. Heated seats. You don't have cooled seats on here, but you do have heated seats for both driver and passenger. 3 settings. Hazards. You've got more vents over there, and I love how this aluminum piece is going to run all the way across. Down here, you've got more storage space. You're going to have a USB located right underneath there. Obviously, cup holders. Shifter. Really nice feel. You can go into manual mode right here. I love this like aluminum piece here, and the leather feels incredible. Sport mode. One cool thing about this like texture here, it's actually layered. So you have like this clear piece on top, and then you have this like matte weave underneath that, and I think that looks great. Aluminum here, more of that leather located right there. Parking brake, automatic hold. This is your dial to control everything, and this does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So when you're using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, Mazda worked really hard to remap everything in here to that. So when you're in Apple CarPlay, and let's say if you hit music, it'll take you to music. Home will take you to home, and then navigation will take you like Google Maps or whatever navigation you're using. Volume here, you push it. Favorites, and then you've got this armrest, which is really, really nice. It feels good. You can put 2 arms on there easily, stitching in the middle. You pull, slide it back, you can access things like my phone, and if you pull it up, then you can open it, and you've got a lot more room in here. And you have a little like divider in here, which is pretty cool. A USB, and then you're gonna have a 12 volt in there as well. Now over here, you are going to have an area here. You have this nice frameless mirror design, which looks really nice. You're gonna have LED lights located in here, if you guys can see that. Sunglass holder. And you've got this big, beautiful moonroof, which looks so good in here. That's pretty much gonna be it for the front seat, guys. Let's go ahead and check out the back. Okay, so hopping in the back seat of the Cx-30. Now, I've got a decent amount of room. I set this passenger seat to where I would sit. I'm 6 feet tall, and my knees are right up against the back. So this is still a pretty small vehicle, but I definitely have more room than a Cx-30. I could barely even fit back there. As far as headroom, surprisingly, I have about an inch above my hair, which is great. The roof line, as you guys can see, does come a little bit low, so you do have to duck to get into here. But once you're in, it's a pretty comfortable place, especially if you're a little bit below 6 feet tall. Now, the leather quality back here is extremely soft, and I think that's what makes it so comfortable. You fold down the armrest, it's really plush. You've got your cup holders here, which are really deep, so I feel like it would secure your drinks really well in here. You do have a pretty tall hump in the middle, so if you have a third passenger, they may have to be straddling this. There's already not a ton of room back here, so I couldn't realistically see anyone putting 3 people back here. You do have rear vents in here, but if you go to like a base model trim, that is not going to have rear vents at all. You're not even going to get an armrest in a base model trim. But you do have your grab handles here, an area to put like dry cleaning, an LED light back here, and you've got a pretty nice view of the front. So it's pretty much going to be it for the back seat. If I didn't mention it, feet room is really good. So the seats are pretty high in the back, so your feet aren't cramped underneath the seat. So let's go ahead and check out the trunk space. All right, so coming to the back of the Cx-30, obviously getting in, you can use your key or there's a button located underneath the hatch. Once this is open, it opens pretty high, so I'm 6 feet, I can stand above it. My head kind of barely touches, but for the most part, getting in and out, you should be able to do it if you're taller without like bumping your head. Now, once you're back here, you have 20.2 cubic feet of space behind the rear seats. With the rear seats folded down, you have 45.2 cubic feet of space. So as you guys can see, our luggage fits back here great. Underneath there, you are going to have a sub, and you're going to have your spare tire wrapped around that sub. Over to the right side, you have an LED light, and then of course you can choose to put like a cargo cover back here if you don't want people to see in the back of your Cx-30. But that's pretty much going to be it for storage space. It's pretty decent for the class, so let's go ahead and see what's under the hood. All right, so coming under the hood of the Cx-30, as of right now, you only have one engine choice. That's gonna be the 2.5 liter Skyactiv G. Now, if you don't know about Skyactiv, the main thing you need to know about it is compression. This is a 13:1 compression ratio that can run off of 87 octane. That's extremely impressive. And in Europe, if you run off of premium gas, they actually have a 14:1 compression, which is just insane for a little 2.5 four-cylinder. But this is going to make about 186 horsepower. You guys can see the exact specs here on the screen. And this is mated to Mazda's 6-speed automatic. So Mazda's still running with just 6 gears, but it's a tried and true transmission. This is a tried and true engine. They've had it since about 2012. So we know that it's a pretty well-developed and pretty bulletproof, for the most part, engine. Fuel economy specs you guys can see here on the screen for all-wheel drive and for just the front-wheel drive only. And this one that we have here is going to be all-wheel drive. So let's go ahead and get this thing on the road and see how it drives. So close. Dude, that was so cool. All right, so first time behind the wheel of the Mazda CX-30. Now I'm here with my buddy Adam from TX Garage. So be sure to check him out. Link is in my description. So I'm very fortunate because we are in California and they have incredible roads out here. Now there's tons of stuff that Mazda threw at this vehicle. I mean, we got to listen to Dave Coleman, who is one of the head engineers, and hearing him talk about this car was absolutely incredible. There was so much thought and effort that went into this, down to studying head movement, down to studying how humans naturally balance themselves when we're walking, and they applied all that to this car. It's pretty incredible. Now, taking it around corners, it does a great job. Now, this does have the GVC Plus, so G Vectoring Control Plus, basically always making sure that you have the most traction available to you at any given moment. It's pretty cool, and there's tons of technicalities that go into it, which would literally take an hour just to explain, but it's really cool. Love the heads-up display. It's really crisp, easy to read, tons of useful information up there. And even going at a little bit of a quicker pace, this thing does a good job. It kind of like rotates around you, feels really good. The brakes are great. One cool thing about the brakes is they made it a little bit firmer, which I like because first of all, it's more satisfying to press and use. But the way it's designed, it utilizes your calf muscle more than your front shin muscle. So when you have, I guess, a looser, lighter brake, you use more of your shin the further down you go. And they even took that into account because your calf is the stronger muscle. You use that more than your shin, which is the weaker muscle. And it's just, it's so crazy, but feels great. That's what it basically all equates to. This is the 6-speed automatic, the Skyactiv 6-speed that Mazda's had since like 2012. And it's just been fine-tuned from then to now. And it's great. It's super responsive. and it does a great job. It's perfectly mated to this engine, obviously, because it was built from the ground up to be that. And if I were to go around this corner, it knows just how much throttle you want. So if I go halfway, a little bit more, and it feels good. So if I were to go all the way down, it just responds so quick. Now with about 185, 186 horsepower, I think, is that what it is, Adam?
I have no idea.
Like 185, 186, somewhere around there. Now obviously it's not the fastest, but this transmission helps you utilize that power to the best of its ability. So keeps you pretty high up in the revs, which means you can get going quicker. Now with that in combination with the all-wheel drive, I'm curious to see what the MPG on this thing is. I am actually going to put a little B-roll clip here showing the MPG. I don't know what it is now, but I will soon enough, and you guys will see it right now. And yeah, that's pretty much the downside to this. I don't think it would be good because, once again, naturally aspirated, way up in the revs, plus all-wheel drive, your fuel economy will drop pretty significantly going to the all-wheel drive model versus the front-wheel drive model. The other cool thing is that with the all-wheel drive in here, iActive all-wheel drive, you always have about 2% of power going to the rear, and they did update this system so that way you have about a 1% overdrive in the back. So what that means is the back wheels will be spinning a little bit faster than the front, so that way when it transfers power, it's pretty much good to go. Different fluids, different viscosity, and things like that to help make it react better. So this is about 70% more efficient. The all-wheel drive system is 70% more efficient than even in the CX-5 that's currently available. So now let's go ahead and switch into manual mode, and I'm gonna throw it into sport. There we go. So one thing I like that Mazda does is when you shift with this, they do it the right way. So you push up to downshift and you pull back to upshift, just like you would do in like motorsports, something like that. So you feel very kin block when you're driving this thing. And shifts are quick, downshifts, really nice. Man, it just feels really good. What do you think, Adam, from the passenger seat? You drove this before me, so what do you think?
I like it. I think it's very responsive. The engine feels very responsive, which I think is something that Mazda with some of their newer stuff has been lacking. But the steering and everything is so direct. It feels really great.
Yeah, it feels nice. I really like it. And the paddles work really well. Yep, downshift. Nice little curve here. Nice. Jeez. For a little crossover, this does handle super well.
Yeah.
This feels great. Man. Like once you get the hang of it, it starts to feel really nice. This Prius is cooking, man. Jeez.
So I'll show you.
I'll show you. See if you make fun of a Prius again. So in terms of comfort, when you're not driving it hard, it's still extremely compliant. It's very comfortable. The seats are fantastic.
9.4 miles.
Shut up.
And I really like the way it feels. Easily daily drivable. And one thing that Mazda did mention, so if you guys are mentioning this in the comments, Mazda has been known to have very noisy interiors, especially like at higher speeds and things like that. The cool thing was that Dave Coleman noted that he's like, one thing that we are known for is noisy interiors. So they worked a lot on the NVH and just the overall quiet factor of this car. And they compared it to like a Lexus UX, Crosstrek, the new Nissan Rogue, the BMW X1 and X2, and they said it's quieter than all of those. And I can pretty much believe it. It's pretty quiet in here. You have just the right amount of engine noise coming in, and it's not an awful sounding engine. It actually sounds pretty good for what it is. So I don't mind having that engine noise come through. But it still adds to that enjoyment factor of the car. I quite like it. And man, this is just, it's really impressive. So if you guys are looking at like the new Mazda 3, you want something a little bit bigger, a little bit quieter, because I do believe this feels a little bit quieter than the Mazda 3. If I remember correctly, it's been almost half a year, so it's really hard to gauge. But this is a good option. So you have a little bit more interior space in here than the current Mazda 3. More trunk space, more headroom, a little bit more width. And the car, I believe, is shorter by like 7 inches versus a Mazda 3. So navigating this in like the city shouldn't be a hard task at all. But overall, I really like this car. I think Mazda did a fantastic job. Comment below, let me know what you guys think. If you want to see a base model review of this, in my description as well, one of my good buddies, Joe from Reddy's Rides, just filmed one, so be sure to check out his video, and also be sure to check out TX Garage and check out Adam. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see y'all in the next review. I'm gonna keep driving this CX-30. Y'all take care. Bye.